Welcome in, everybody. You know what I didn't do this whole time, Josh? How could you not? What did I do? Didn't put any blue on my palette. So today, instead of our Prussian blue, we're going to use our Phthalo blue. You guys got to check in. Tell me where you're watching from. Just how stinking cold is it out there for you today? Is it a nice day? Is it a chilly day? Let me know. Let me know, because hopefully, if you're too warm, we're gonna cool you down with a cold little winter scene that's gonna be just gorgeous. Now, I'll tell you everything I've done to the canvas so far. You guys tell me where you're watching from, what your favorite sandwich is, how cold it is, whatever. Just answer my question and make sure that you like the video, okay? Now, we're gonna go through the colors that we've got. And what I've done to this canvas, it's a 16 by 20 inch canvas just out of a 5-pack from Michael's. It's got liquid white on the canvas that we put on and spread very thinly and very evenly across our canvas. Now, we're probably gonna use our Indian yellow, our phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white, maybe a bit of our brown, maybe a bit of our purple as well, that dioxazine purple from the Gamblin set. So if we're gonna do a gorgeous little sunset, let's just get out here and see what we can do. Loading a little bit of paint onto our brush, and then, I don't even know. Let's just pop it in right here. Just pop it in. All right, we're gonna be doing it into our water as well. Now, into the water, you can let it blend down. You see how it kind of gets less and less severely yellow up here because it's mixing with that liquid white, right? This stuff is gorgeous. It's amazing. We can let this guy blend out, and then we're gonna go back and put our colors over the top of it and let them blend down. So we don't really have to do much. Just get a little bit of color onto our canvas is all. A little bit of color out there in the day. How are you guys today, by the way? How has your week been? Mine's been pretty fantastic. Let's go into our crimson. Get over here into our crimson-y color. We'll pull this guy down. Start dropping it down from up here. Right? If we're gonna put it up here in our top corner and then let it blend down into our sky, let's put it down here into the bottom corner and let it blend up into our sky. Right? We'll figure out what to do later on. Let's get a little bit more of that crimson over here. Just because, right? Gotta have some around the side of our yellow. Just because you want to have it there in case your blue kind of overtakes your whole scene. Look at that little yellow patch in the, oh, if we can keep this, that is going to be fantastic. If we can keep it. Now, we don't want to put on too much color because it's going to want to grow. And we got to cover the sides of our canvas. Always cover the sides. At least I do. I got to cover the sides. I don't know about you guys. At least a little bit of color out there helps my brain at least think that it's done, right? And you can see the color isn't blended out. We're just throwing it up there, blocking it in, as they say. Should we go blue or should we go purple? You guys tell me. Or should we go black? Black would look really cool here and here. Ooh, guys, you tell me. Blue, purple, or black? Type it in the comments. Which one do you want to see? We got blue, purple, black, black, black and blue, black, black, purple, purplish black, purple, 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 purple. So, let's see. Let's just do a mix of all of them. Why not? Throw a little bit of blue. All right, take our blue. Let's pop a little blue patch in it. Bang, just like that. Take a little bit of our purple. Cover our corner back here, just like that. And then, same thing around the bottom. Pop it in. Doesn't need to be too crazy or too thick or whatever. It's gonna be totally fine. Now, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. I can already see what it's gonna look like by the time that we get to it, right? Feel like I gotta yell over here so everybody can hear me when I get further away from our camera. There we go. All right, okay. Now, we're going to move our palette over here. We're going to dab off our brush on a paper towel so it's nice and dry, and then we're gonna blend these colors together. We can't very well blend them if our brush is full of color, right? So we have to make sure our brush is devoid of color. Nice and clean, no thinner, no residue in our bristles, so we bash it out on a paper towel. And then we're gonna have fun, right? We'll come in here into the lightest part first and just kind of crisscross into that light area, just getting some paint onto the bristles. Right? And the more that we come up into our pinkish color, the more that color is going to change. right? It's gonna change, it's gonna grow, it's gonna get darker in places, it's gonna get lighter in places, and we just crisscross, 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 just like that. Boom, 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 all over the place, right? We don't necessarily need to do our water, and like I said, our crimson is gonna come down. It's gonna get lower and lower and lower into our sky. The more we bring it down, the more it will eventually disappear, right? So if you don't want your yellow to disappear, stop blending that color. Let's come up here into our little purplish bluish area. The more that we mix this guy down into that crimson, again, the more it's gonna wanna grow. So we've gotta decide. You don't need to put your paint everywhere, right? Because see how the blue and purple just all the way across the top without having any excess color over here because we already had enough, right? It's all about the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. And does anyone out there know the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh? Can you tell me what they might be? Can you take a guess? Maybe you don't know them, maybe you want to take a guess at them, right? But would you know, or do you know, can you guess what the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh would be? What would they be? See you later. What would they be? The 3 old P's of Paint with Josh, right? Can you type them into the comments now? The more we blend that, the cooler it's gonna look, you guys. Isn't that just so neat? Danielle, that's funny. Cosmic Lighthouse knows. Hey, Josh K is watching over there on YouTube. Josh K is watching Josh K paint, which is just like a Twilight Zone kind of a thing to my brain. I don't know why. Look at that though. The more you blend it, the softer it gets, right? The more we mix it together, the softer it goes. But I can't really fix this part with this much paint on the brush. See how there's a line right there? And granted, if you wanted to, you could take a cloud and pop your line right up into the sky. It'd be totally awesome if you did that, right? If not, let's wash off the brush and then go back and blend it. So, how was your weekend? Tell me. But don't worry about the water. We're gonna be over that stuff, this stuff so much that it's not even gonna matter by the time we get down there, honestly. Unless we decide to blend it out and then change our whole scene, which, gosh, wouldn't that look really cool? Oh, I had an idea about what I wanted to do, and I always tell you guys, you can change your idea, right? Nice, clean, dry brush. So I had an idea of what I wanted. And now, just because of how the painting is coming out, just the sky, it makes me want to change my idea, right? Have you ever had that? Where you're painting and then all of a sudden, now we're going to go a different direction because of how our sky looked or how your clouds looked or whatever, right? You can always pick a different way. There's always another way. There's always another time you can come back and do this one. But I always preach, when you see something, right? Do you see? If you see it, then you don't have to just follow along with the tutorial blindly, right? You might see something that's gonna be much cooler in your painting than it would be in my painting. Look at this blend though. Do you think we could blend it soft enough to have that and keep that little line out there? Ooh, you never know. It could disappear, right? Yours might already be gone. Literally, if we go over it a few more times, take it away, right? How many times do you want to do it? In fact, I don't think I want to mess around. I think we'll go back to my idea that we had. We'll go check it out. Now, we don't need too much light. We don't need a lot of space. We need a lot of sky in this picture. If we're going to do a low sitting type of a scene, we need a lot of sky for it, right? So, why don't we come out here and take a few little swipes through our titanium white, get it all chunktified onto our brush out here. Just nastily, crazily thick, because there's a lot of colors out here that can make it go away, right? Watch this. What if we did, again, don't have to fill your sky full of clouds, and I know I want to pop a little mountain into this guy, so what if we go like this? All right, get bigger, and bigger, and bigger as we go this way. Right? Start out very small. And you get wider and wider and wider. We want to bring it around. Right? How do you want your little sky or your cloud to look? Totally up to you, however you want it to be. And we know it's gonna move and it's gonna blend, right? As we take it down and start mixing it in with a nice clean dry brush. Start mixing it and mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. Then we push on this guy a little bit harder so he looks further away in the background. And then all of a sudden, our little cloud that's in the front over here is a little bit closer, just on how we did it, right? Or do you like it like that? How many different ways are there to paint a cloud? Can you type in a number in the comments right now of how many different ways there are to paint clouds? What if, oh, I can just see, we do that same sort of, bang, might have been called that darkness. Just a crazy thing. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to do anything. Because it's not the focal point of our whole painting. We're not just up here painting clouds and that's it, right? We're gonna have all sorts of different stuff to look at. So what I always tell my students is don't worry about it too much, right? What if we get a load more of our paint onto our brush and come up this way? Bang. If we can keep this guy nice and bright, right in there, right? Almost losing our white, our yellow. If we went a little bit too far, we would lose that guy, right? So we are deciding how we want it to look each time that we go to do it. Blend it in, push it away. Remember, your clouds have to go behind something. They have to be behind a mountain or whatever. Look at that, right? Now, even if we lose all of this, look at this right here. You got your light color blending into darkness, into your clouds. That's cool. What if we did a little bit more work on these clouds? Again, you don't need a whole lot of details, right? But if you keep it nice and bright on the edge and let it blend back very softly, right? So very softly across the top. And then as you get back here, you're pushing harder to make it blend away. Very soft along the edge, and then we're pushing it harder, letting it expand and grow into these different things. Now, even if we lose that, right? It's fine. We've got our light above. We saved a little piece of it. That might actually work out as cool bit of mist or stuff for our mountainous area. Get out of there. Now, what three colors do we normally mix up if we're gonna create a mountain? Right? I like to show you, it doesn't even matter which blue you use, or crimson or black. Right? Which I just gave you, literally gave away the three colors. So you better be able to type in the three color answer, right? Because I just told you what it was already. Scrape this guy up over here. Pop him in over there. Yeah. Throw it down. Woo! Nasty big old pile of paint, right? In front of our gorgeous little guy, which is just looking fantastic. Now, I don't want to make this mountain too large. Right? If we make it too large, then it's going to take away from our foreground stuff. So the clouds are about halfway at our canvas. Again, normally a Paint with Josh mountain's coming way up here. You know what I mean? Let's take this little guy and let's just make him a little flat little deal. Just wherever. A couple little peaks. Doesn't even matter, honestly. Like, and Bob would always say that too. He's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Just put it anywhere. And I'm like, you are lying, because it does matter. Right? But no, after 1,700, almost 1,800 paintings, I can tell you, it doesn't even matter. Literally. Right? Throw it out there. Just leave him little. We don't need him to be too big. If he's too big, then he seems too close, and then we gotta make our trees closer and all that stuff. So let's push him, just like that, right? Because there's a little bit of blue in with our mix, it's kind of going green over that yellow. So we're saving just that little piece of sky. That's all you need. Take this guy, pull him down the other way. Right? Just like that. Now, it might be a little bit easier to see if we show you on a canvas like this, okay? So, we need to have, think about it, two different sides of your mountain, right? Two different bits. One of them's going one way, one of them's going the other, okay? So think about this. If you're pulling down from this side, right, and we're dragging down this way, we're leaving a mark the size of our brush, right? It's down that side, right? So automatically, if I come up to that mark, not the edge of my mountain up here, because if I just pull down like that, it's going to it's gonna kind of cancel out the little ridge, right? So we come up to where our brush was. If our brush was here, making that contact, you can see it, right? We come right up to that guy and pull the other direction. You don't want to go up here to the edge and drag because you'll cancel out what you did, right? Same thing over onto this guy, just trying to grab half of the front and pull it out that way, right? You don't even really need to do anything in this little thing. If you have enough space, you can pull it down the other way, right? If you pull it with enough pressure, you'll cut it in front of the mountain in the back. You see how you can play back and forth? Say if I didn't want that guy and I wanted this guy, I can cut it in front of that guy, right? Little things out there in the day. You guys can do this. I swear it. I swear it. We just taught a virtual class out there. Didn't I tell you that yellow would be some cool little misty kind of an area back there? Right now, let's put a few little highlights on our guy. If we're gonna do a cool little winter scene, let's take a little bit of our titanium white, a little bit of our phthalo blue, and mix them together because you need sort of that sky blue color for your snowy, shadowy bit. And I'm imagining my light's coming from this side, so we're gonna come off the back side of our little guy very lightly and just letting that little palette tool graze across the paint that's already there. Right? We've already brushed this out, so it's nice and soft. I can feel the canvas gripping it underneath, right? That's what you want. You want those little things, little bits. Now I'm gonna take a little touch of my white. I'm gonna come out here and grab a little sneak of that blue that we had made, not the blue from up here, otherwise we're gonna make our same color. Right? We just want to throw a little blue tint into this white. And you can see we don't even need a whole lot, literally. Come off of this guy, a couple little bits. Doesn't have to even be a straight line, right? Sometimes I like making them not straight purposely because just like that, down here, over there, it's never gonna be a perfect thing. And all we're doing is dragging our little palette tool with a little roll of paint on the end, right? So we got our little roll of paint out there. We kind of suction cup it to the canvas and be quick. Very light pressure. The more pressure you push, the more you're gonna mush. Think about that, right? We're not trying to mush it all. We're trying to graze. We're grazing in the grass out here. It's very light-handed thing. You don't want to push too much pressure. Otherwise, you lose it. And you'll just lose it all, man. Do we have any more where we can connect that guy? There. Just change that little shadowy area right there, right? We'll probably lose that whole piece to our forest or whatever. Doesn't necessarily have to do much of anything except be a little reminiscent of a mountain out there is all we have to do. See how we're not taking our snow from side to side either? Our mountain didn't go from side to side. That's one of the biggest things that I did when I started painting was pushing everything from edge to edge. And you don't really need it. We only need it about right there. That's all we're really gonna be looking at, right? So let's take our 1-inch brush because this is a little mountain and we'll soften this guy again, just grazing it with a couple little hairs is all we're gonna do. Very light. We're not even trying to touch it really, right? I'm gonna use the same side, go into our blue and kind of drag up very lightly again. There's not a lot of paint out there because we were very light-handed with our knife. We didn't have a lot of paint on there, right? So when we get up here, there's not a lot of pressure needed to make those go away, right? So if you put on too much pressure, it's gonna disappear. Now we'll take our paintbrush, we'll come in here, and again, just start tapping up into the snow. I told you, we don't even see all of the snow that we painted, right? Just tapping it in the same directions that our mountain was flowing down that way, right? A little tap. So when we're in our blue section, do we continue tapping it the same way that our mountain was flowing, or should we turn and tap it down this way? What do you think? Should we continue on or should we turn? Type it in the comments now. That's it, we gotta turn. Right? So we'll come over here and we'll tap in, leading it outward. Grab up a little bit more, lead it out. A little bit more, lead it out. Every time that we mush onto this guy with our brush, again, see how that little bit brought it all the way to the edge? We didn't even need to paint it all the way to the edge to begin with. The But every time that we mush on with this little guy, it's literally mixing it in with the liquid white, with all the other colors that are underneath. It's mixing, mixing, mixing every time, right? So we can kind of transition back up into our mountain from each direction, just like that. Get a little bit of a mix-up or a twisty little right at the bottom, and all of a sudden you've got this floating mountain out there in the mist, right? You can always go back and put on more mist, add another little cloud, do whatever you want. You could take and make your mountain bigger, right? Which, should we do that? You guys let me know. Should we make it bigger or should we leave it there? Because I can show you how to make it a bit bigger real quick like, right? And be done. Or should we leave it like that and continue on? You guys tell me. Leave it. We got bigger, bigger, bigger. We got leave it. We got everything. Watch how we can change this guy like this, literally. Let's come in without the dark paint. Let's scrape up a little bit of that guy. A little bit of that guy, right? Just taking away the light. I don't want the light color up there anymore. I want to continue on with my darkness. Right? This big old scraggly little peeker in the night. I like that area over there. We don't have to do much with that guy. But just by making him a little bit bigger, a little crazier. Maybe he's got a little hump off his backside. Just down there. Right? Now we can do a little bit more with our highlights. Thinking this guy's gonna flow into his little friend out here. This side's gonna float down, right? The whole thing meeting in the middle, just like that. There we go. See? Now there's many, many, many different ways to highlight a mountain like that. And we don't have much of our white left, so let's use up this blue while we can. Get up here and just whip it down, following along the ridge that's in our brains. Right? We've got to have well, you got to have a brain. And then you got to have a ridge that lives in that brain, right? Bring it down. Again, we know it's going to dissipate at the very bottom, so that's fine. Let's get a little bit of our titanium white, grab a little sneak of that blue that's over there. And again, we don't need a whole lot because we've already done half of the light side of our mountain over here. But you need to make it a little blue tint because, look at this for a guy. That little blue tint is very helpful, okay? By the time that we get to our foreground, we're gonna wanna be using the brightest white that we can use. So if we use the brightest white that we have out here in the very background of our scene, then it's not going to help us by the time we get down to the front, the foreground of our scene. Come back up here. Extend it, right? How long, how far, how this, how that does it go in your brain? Just a little bit more of that bluish, shadowy color. Pull it down. Then remember, you're never going to see everything. Never, ever, ever. But just like that, very simple to go back and change your mountain. The oils are so much more forgiving, to me anyway, than acrylics are. I don't know. It's just my own personal preference. I like the oils. People ask me all the time, what are you painting with? What colors? This, that, and the other. And my answer is always the same. There we go. There. Okay, now, let's take that same dark placky mix that we had. We're gonna add a little touch of white to a little bit. See the little bit of white on the end there? Into that little bit bigger, much bigger bit of plaque that we had. That way, we can mix it down and it will brighten itself just a little, right? We just, again, want it to remain dark. It's a dark, far away type of a foresty color that we're looking for. But we don't want it to be so dark that by the time we come up to our highlights and our shadows in the front that we can't get any darker, right? You gotta play with the values of the paint. We're not gonna overload it too much, okay? And let's say, I don't know, just maybe out here, we had a couple little trees that started living out here, growing up, checking out that mountainside. Now, initially, they don't look like trees, I agree, right? But the more that you do it, the more you fill it in, making sure that nothing is all the same height, right? The more we get back there, tap in little things, dipping down underneath all the brightness of that mountain, right? You don't want to come down and cut through that. That's going to make your trees much more difficult to see. Right? Maybe over there they just kind of fade off into nothing. Who cares, right? Who cares what happens? There, just like that. Very cool. Now, all we need to do is fill in the base with a little bit with our excess paint that's on our brush, right? It doesn't have to be pretty, just gotta be there. You just fill it in, pow, wherever, right? Now, all of a sudden, this makes our mountain look further away, just like our mountain coming up into our clouds makes our clouds look further away. All in how you see it. And here's another good part about oils. You can always go back and adjust. Get an area that's a bit too bright or whatever, go back and give it a little adjustment, right? If you had your acrylics, those would have been dry and hard by now. You wouldn't be able to do anything. Now, let's come in here with our 2-inch brush. Give it a little swipe up to the top, and we're kind of pulling away. So we're pulling away. I'm not down here brushing it though, right? I can't control my pressure like that. I can control my pressure a lot easier here. And we want to push on it a little bit and give it a little drag upwards. But we're not trying to drag it up through the mountain top or all that snow or anything like that, right? And the more that you fill in this base that you can't see through, doesn't it look like that mountain's back behind them trees now? Back into them trees. I like it. Okay, take our 1-inch brush, since this one's already dirty from doing our mistiness back here. Does anyone remember, by the way, how we did our mistiness? We were kind of going out and down and then around the edge of our mountain peak, came down right here, right, our closest point. Do we do that with the trees? I can't remember. Or do we just go up and down, right? Do we go around like a clock? Or do we just go up and down? You type it out, and then we'll just have to see who's right in the night. Thanks, Vicky. I appreciate you. We got up and down. We got clock. Up and down, up and down, up and down. See, you guys have been paying attention. You guys have been paying attention, right? Because we need to be vertical right here. And all we're doing is tapping in, then going a little bit like a 1/4 inch lower, tapping again, 1/4 inch lower, tapping again, tapping again, tapping again, tapping again. The only thing we're doing is transferring a little bit of our darker paint from above into our lighter paint below. And it starts to create this misty look. This is a question I get asked all the time. How do you do the misty trees? I don't. The brush does it for me. We don't have to do anything except for this. And then the brush mixes it for you, right? Again, look at this angle. We're down here. We're not straight on the canvas. This does nothing. Nothing, 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 right? From an angle, which is why the brush starts to bend out like that. Boom, 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 boom. The more you do it, the more it will look like misty fogginess, right? And then you decide when you're finished, up in here, very light, a little bit more pressure as we're blending into our water. Very light in here so I don't drag too much of the darkness down into that light spot. Told you, if we could save that light spot, that's gonna be amazing. It literally will be. Right now, we won't be able to, but in any case, if we pull down our water, it's going to dissipate. But maybe if we can control our pressure just enough, it won't do it too bad, okay? Now, also, why is this so purpley over here? And there's no purpley bits over here. Now, without even getting any extra paint, I'm gonna use the clean side of the brush right here. Okay. I'm gonna drag some of this purple onto the brush. And I'm gonna turn that purple side over to this side. There, that's it. See that? We didn't have to take anything else. We're using the paint that we've already got up here, right? Now, let's dab that brush off on a paper towel, because if we're going to add any bits of kind of glossy, watery effect or reflections or whatever, right, it helps to pull it down. And we're gonna try to keep that light area, don't go over it too much. Now, definitely into this purple, don't go back into that light, right? But the more that we streak it down, that's pretty. That's pretty. And then we're gonna have to also, let's probably streak this guy up, see if we can drag some of that purple from down here up there. Right? We also have to swipe it sideways. You have to. So if you got too much purple, like maybe we do, maybe it's gonna grow. If you can use the slightest amount of pressure, maybe we save just a little bit of it on the water back there, right? It's almost too bright, but all depends on what we have. It doesn't have to look right now, right? If we come down and plop a tree in here with a big old bush and all you can see is this portion of that, then that is gonna be amazing, right? That's all about in the future when the layers come down. Okay, so let's not mess around with that anymore. Let's try to save that little sweet spot right there. It's gonna be cool. Now, we can also darken up our color again, go back in and add another section of trees if we wanted to, just to stand out in front, because we can also do this. Let me come in here. We're gonna go back into our plaque mix, right? This was the mix, our plaque mix with our white, our titanium white in there. I just wanna go into our darkest plaque mix we can possibly get right now, because we're gonna make this little guy stand out in front of all these other little guys. Now, we gotta be a little taller. Pick a place where there's not a lot of snow. If you're going right through all that snow, then it's gonna be hard to keep everything just right? Let's pick a place where there's not a lot of snow. You don't have to go above the mountain just yet. Come down. We do have to come down into that misty area though. That's what helps this guy look like he's in front of that other guy. Let's load our paint back up. Let's come into here and little taps on the screen. On the canvas. You guys tap on the screen. The more we go down, the more I try to stay out of your guys' way, the more bristles we mush onto the canvas, and the bigger it gets away from its trunk, right? That gives you a cool little pine tree out there in the night. Very neat. Now, we could add a bush in front of that, or at the bottom of this guy, or you could literally take him, drag him out, and start deciding where your closer bit of midground lives, okay? We've already got our background back there, and now we're deciding if we cut enough paint through that little misty area back there, instantly brings this section forward. Oh, that looks so pretty. I can already see it, guys. Bring a little bit more of that darker color down here. We don't want to have too much on our brush though, guys, I'm telling you, because it gets difficult to add our white snow over the top if it's already too dark. So don't get too crazy, okay? Don't pull out too much paint. Don't let it get too dark on us. Man, that's looking sweet. Even with this same brush, come in here, load up with a little bit of our titanium white, good old amount of it. Come out here and start brushing it down, right? The darker your under shadow is, the harder it's going to be to keep your snow white, right? So if you just pull it down and let's push it over that way. White. Down over here. We're not trying to get too far behind our tree because that's where our shadow is going to take over, right? Got to have some shadow paint back there. And if anything, get the smallest little bit of our phthalo blue with a little touch of white, right? Just to have that difference in its color. It cannot be the same. You can drag it up into the tree to help it look a little bit more realistic as well. At least that's how I do it. That's how I see them. You can see we've got our white, got a little patch of blue back there feeding into its shadow. You could also just use the darkness as its shadow. Right? Pull it out like that. Depends on how you want your scene to look. It's all about your scene, right? Something else back here. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Bang, just like that. Again, if we can keep this spot right here, you guys, that's gonna be really cool. Let's take a very small amount of our lighter color of the plaque, so the plaque that we mixed a little bit of white with. Very small, very teeny tiny amount. And if we can, we'll just come back in here and scrape it around just a little. Boom, 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 boom. Doesn't have to go all the way across, doesn't have to do anything. We're deciding what it looks like each time we go to do it. Let's turn our 2-inch brush vertical and just grab a little bit of that. Just the smallest amount we can get. Little teeny, tiny bit. Right? Just grab that little bit, and we can leave the light on top. It's going to look like a very small little shadow. Now you can see I've gone over it a couple times, and it didn't go away. That's okay. Let's push a little bit harder. A little bit harder. I'm not trying to lose my brightness down there. All right, swipe it, swipe it, swipe it. Hey, got yourself a little shadow underneath your snowy bank, or whatever. Right? Come underneath it with a little bit of our liquid white into the titanium white. A little bit. Grab this guy. We're not going to try to lose all that darkness. We don't need to see every bit. We don't need to cover it all either. Little thing, little bits of light out there in the night. Right? Now, let's say you didn't have enough liquid white into your mix, like I didn't. That's okay. Back in. You can pull it down many times as you want. The liquid white and the titanium white will dissipate very quickly. Right? So, you decide how you want it looking. That actually looks pretty cool like that, but you may want just another little, very quick. That's the secret too. You gotta be fast. You don't want to try to make it too perfect. Just go through it quickly. There's always going to be another canvas that you can try out on. You know what I mean? Little bits. Everything doesn't all have to be the same. We're not even going to see the majority of all of it. That's the best part, literally. Okay, let's get into this little guy before we get too far. We'll get into our liquid white and our, phthalo blue. We want to mix it in there until the liquid white is gone. And all it does is make our paint just a little bit thinner than its dark, thick counterpart shadow down there, right? And that way, as Bob always told us, a thin paint is going to stick to a thick paint. So if we have a thick paint up here as our shadow, then our thinner paint is going to stick to that. Now, I like getting all of my phthalo blue snow and all that off of my brush before I go to do the liquid white, because it'll just taint it really bad, and then it's no longer really bright, right? We're getting down here to where we should be able to see a few details, so let's be able to see a few details and make them a little bit bright. Pop it in here, just little bits. Stay along the edge of your tree first. Not everywhere is going to be as bright, here, there, wherever. Just kind of tap it in, these little things, little bits, in the night. This cool little thing. Now, some of the times, you can get an area that just got too bright, right? So let's remove that spot. Go back in with a bit of our darkness, and just see if we can't add some depth into that area. Remembering that not every piece has to be so bright, right? You can get spots where it's not so bright in your tree. Not everything has to match out there, right? So let's come back in, a couple more little taps. Less over our darker area. See that? It's almost the darker that it is, the more realistic it is as it's further away, especially, right? So if you've got some darker spots in your tree, then it's gonna look more realistic to me. It's my tip of the day. There, a couple little bits. Little things out there. You don't need much else, guys. You really don't. Now, let's get crazy. Let's take a load of that darkness. We're gonna mix both of our dark piles together right here. And let's probably make up a little bit more. So you guys tell me, see how I skipped that liquid white area when I wanted to make my plaque? I don't want any liquid white in there, or titanium white, or anything lighter than that blue and crimson color. Right? We want it to be dark. So, do you know the 3 colors that it takes to make up Paint with Josh plaque? Are you having a good time watching this stream? Let me know. I did get the light party fixed, so if you've been jonesing for a light party, we've got it all fixed up. Kind of rigged up so it'll work if somebody grabs this one during the show. Then the light party comes out at the end and we flash it all crazy. This is fantastic. I'm literally, you've got to have something right here. And then we can pop some bushes out. But what do we want to do is the question. Or vice versa. Yes. That's what I was making all this plaque for, okay? Get that big old Paint with Josh bushy brush. It does not need to be overly loaded though, right? the more thick and crazy it is, the more dark and close it's gonna be. Let's get taller than our mountain. Oh, Josh, don't you dare. Oh, he did it. He did it. Start popping out, popping over on little things, filling in little spaces. And again, it's about pushing back your background. You have to, right? Since there's lots of light up here, let's fill in that space. All right, we don't need to be able to see everything all crazily bright, right? We have to have some darkness, some thickness, some crazy texture to our paint. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Fill in our little tree around the edge. Whoop. Remember, it's got to be thick. It's got to be dark. It's got to be nasty, right? Now, what is it gonna look like by the time we get done? We'll figure that part out. See, little space. Oh, right there. Little gorgeous little. Oh, he's fantastic. I like it. We had to get real low to go save that space. See how this is very bright? It only continues to get brighter because we're mushing over that white snow. So let's get a lot of paint. Try not to mush it so much. There we go. Very cool. Very cool, guys. I like that. Let's get a little bit taller, a little bit crazier. Right. Again, you want it to project distance, okay? Now, they always look a little funky until you start throwing your highlights on there. Okay, so let's do just a little touch. We'll get in here to our liquid white. And let's go into our crimson color. It's gonna be gorgeous. A little bit. We don't need to have them be very dark. We want there to be a little bit of brightness there, and then we can come off of this guy and just start tapping down on him, deciding how do we want our little tree to look, right? You cannot cover, I mean, you can absolutely cover everything. You mustn't do that. You cannot cover all of that darkness with too much light, right? If we have too much light out there in the dark, then it takes away from the depth, right? It takes away from our light areas. If we have too much light, we don't see the dark of our tree, right? So let's not fill in too much. Let's go get a little of our odorless mineral spirits and put it with our titanium white or liquid white. Is going to make it very runny, okay? Now, out here from the darkness, springs forward bits of branches that are holding up these things out there, right? Maybe this guy's got a big old monster branch over here. You got some coming up underneath, a few things that are popping out and growing. And you can see just how these things come to life, right? Just from a couple little branches in your dark areas, right? You were looking at this before going, Josh has lost his mind. Like, he's lost it. That's it. It's over for him, right? But now look, isn't that cool? Did you think it was gonna look like that when we first started, that big old blotch? Because every time I used to see Bob do that, I would be like, what are you doing? Why are you putting all of that crazy dark up there? That makes no sense. What are you gonna do with it, right? And then you come down and you figure out there's lots of things you can do with that little guy. Now let's take our phthalo blue into our liquid white as well. So we got our liquid white into our phthalo blue. You can see how much brighter it makes it. And let's say if all of our light's back here, we're gonna have a bunch of little shadowy little bushes that live down in here. Just very light little touch, trying to miss places, right? Because we're never gonna see everything. And we're never gonna have a cool bush if we don't leave those dark areas in there. Gotta have that dark. Don't have that dark, what the heck are we doing out here, right? And not everything has to be so supremely bright. It just doesn't have to do it. Now, a little bit of our liquid white on top of that same old nasty, dirty brush. It's got like 3-4 different colors in there. Let's go into our titanium white. Tap it in. Look at those differences. Right there. Fabulous. Come off of this guy. Turn your brush. Right? Do not, like I said, fill in every bit. Do not cover over every piece of blue or every bit of dark. Right? You can't do it. Please. Don't do it. Please. I beg of you. Okay, now let's get some yellowy colors in here too as we're getting out into our sunlight. All right, we get our liquid white into our Indian yellow. So that's the color we use for our sky. Oh, it's golden. Look at this guy. Boop. A couple little bits. Don't want to have too many. All right, you put on too many, we're going to lose its effect. So don't do too many, but that looks so gorgeous right there. I wonder if we can sneak and get a little yellow onto that guy. Hey, just like that. Just a little touch out there. And this guy's a little bit more crazily hit by the sun. Who knows? Little bits, right? But you can't put too much brightness. You have to have that dark in between your brights. Okay, let's switch back. We're gonna go back over to our liquid white, back into our pink, and because we have the yellow on the brush as well, we're gonna have all sorts of little crazy things play out right in front of our eyes. Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that fan-freaking-tastic? It is if you ask me. Look at those colors, all the depth in there. It's like you could walk straight through, right? Just epically great. Just great. You really don't even need anything over here to the right side. It's honest to goodness, that's a finished old painting right there. Now, here's one of my favorite things you can do too, is in order to make these guys, but make them very small, you can come from your dark areas and just start straightening up, just with the point of your little palette tool, from your dark spots, grow these little twigs, and the more little twigs that you can sneak in there, the cooler your little scene's gonna be, right? That was a little bit too bright down there. There we go. Fill in that spot where it didn't get touched, right? Now maybe from here, grow out a couple more little bits, all from your dark areas up into your light areas. And the best part about it is you can even take them and go like this. Just give me a good old spot. Bang! Right out into the light, into your colors, wherever you want it to be is up to you. Right? These things don't just all grow the same. You can get out there and get all sorts of crazy. Do a little bit of a couple little branches off of this guy too, just if we wanted. Bang! Just like that, right? Just by removing the paint that's already up there. Really, really, really cool, you guys. I like it. Soft, different, right? We could put another pine tree right here and make it a little bit taller, but I never like to really block it in the same. You know what we could do? Just because I have the paint, and this one looks like it's still mine. Nobody's grabbed this painting yet, right? So let's add in just a big old branch of a tree or something. Just something. Let's figure out something. Okay, and in order to do that, even through all of this color, we're gonna do it. We'll get our black, crimson, blue right over here. Make it nasty. Just like this. Fabulous. Whoop! Throw it onto the floor. That's always good. Somehow I didn't get any paint on the floor though. That's magic. Okay, let's come in here. Wiggle down onto that paint, onto your little fan brush or your flat brush or whatever you want to use. Literally up to you. What if we came down like this guy and just whoop? There we go. Drop it in, push it harder. Bang! Got a little tree growing in there. Right? Wherever we want them to be is where they can be every single time that we go to do one. Whoop. Get it in there. Make sure it's a dark enough paint and that we've got a little tiny bit of thinner in there just so it'll fall off our brush. Right there. A couple little sticks, little twigs, little trees, whatever they are. Now we're going to get our odorless mineral spirits onto our palette. Getting them onto the palette down here. You can see it's very runny. It wants to drip down, so I have to hold the palette flat. Right? Now, maybe this little guy, let me start popping out a little branch or two over the top. Oh, he's just trying to get to his little mountainous friend. A couple little things over here, a little bit off of that guy. He's over there, wherever, literally wherever you want them to be, right? You want them to be going one way, going the other way. It's all up to us where we put them in, where we put our branches, where everything goes. It's up to us. we're in control of this painting, of every painting that we do. We get to control how it looks. That guy cut in front. Maybe this dude come up over here. Just a crazy old branchy thing. I'm trying not to hit the peak of my mountain because it's so hard to go through all of that paint and have it stay dark enough to look like it's in the front. But the more that you put it into the background, guys, the more little things that come off, the more dark you can keep it out there, the more it pushes everything else into the distance. Right? Got the branch coming off this way. Down there, over here, wherever you want it. Because it's literally up to you. Do you want it to branch off and go down that way? Come down over this side? Do you want to have one popping out over here? Should we go off and through that side? Right? Where do you see your trees when you're doing it? Because that's where you're going to want to put them. Right? It's not at the same place. There we go. Right there. Get a lot of that wet, dark paint on there so it will fall off of our brush and onto the canvas nice and gentle like. Little bits over here, over there, wherever. The more little things you add, the more depth we're gonna have into our scene. Let's pop a couple of guys off here too. Like it twisted at the top. Bang. A little crazy broke off. Oh, I like it, you guys. That's cool. That is cool. Now, let's take our palette tool. Let's take a little bit of our white. We got some of our brown. I told you we'd probably use it. Sure, why not use some Indian yellow too? Just mix them in there. Gonna be neat looking. Very cool. That's a cool brown right there. I like that. Now remember, all of our lights on this side. So we gotta kind of tap up our tree and work it down. Tap it up, work it down, tap it up, work it down. Giving it a little bit of barky feel. Having it fill in certain spaces, covering some of our darkness, but leaving some of our darkness as well. You cannot just cover the whole thing in that brown, right? You have to have a bit of your dark shadow, especially on your shadow side, and your brown does not have to make it all the way up to the tip top, right? It's just never gonna happen. Bang, just like that. Make sure you got that darker color back there too. Otherwise you're gonna have a flat old tree. Just literally tapping, 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 tapping. Hi there, how you doing?
Good, how you doing, man?
Doing well.
I just popped in, I seen you guys' signs and stuff on the side of the building.
Oh, very cool, yeah.
So you like do classes or what do you do?
I do, I'm literally doing a live stream right now. You're live on TikTok and YouTube and everything. And I teach how to paint in a wet-on-wet technique, and then I can give you a business card.
Sure, yeah.
And if you scan the class or scan the QR code, it'll take you to the class info page.
Okay, perfect.
And then you can book for whatever day it's on.
Okay,
right?
so you could kind of be appointment and
Yeah.
walk-ins, okay.
Yeah, I mean, walk-ins, if you came during the day, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything between 9 a.m. and like 3 p.m.
Okay.
And so I have classes listed 2 times a day, 5 days a week.
Okay.
And if you book, sorry.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, if you book one of those, and if the picture isn't what you want for the day that you're able to come, we don't have to pay.
Oh, I got you, okay.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, it's for me and my kid, she's 16
Okay.
and she, yeah, so she's not like this.
Heck
too,
yeah,
so
yeah, we
I'll
can
bring her
literally
in.
come in and go, I want to do that one. Like,
Okay.
all right, let's do
Yes,
that one.
that's awesome.
Instead of, because I never know what people want.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you can only put up so many images. I'm
Okay.
like, well, okay, here's a good.
Yeah, you don't want too many options either. Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm putting together a portfolio as well.
Okay.
A book where you can come through and flip through and be like, all right, I want to do that one.
I do this one, okay.
Because a lot of them sell during the live shows that we're streaming right now,
Uh-huh.
and that painting might sell and go find a new home, and so it won't be on the wall to reference. You know what I mean?
What a cool little gig though.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's awesome.
It's
So
crazy.
you got your rates and stuff on here?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 89 per class.
Okay.
And then that covers everything, and it's 2 to 3 hours. So
Okay.
right now it's like $30 an hour.
Okay,
And
so
then,
that per person then?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be 89 for me, my daughter to do
Yes.
that is 3 hours?
Yeah, it's a 2 to 3 hour class.
Sure.
Most of the time we're done before that,
Okay.
but especially the first time, it takes a little bit longer
Sure.
than other times.
Okay.
And then I provide everything, and you can either leave the painting here to dry, because they take like 7 or 10 days to dry.
Oh, okay.
Or I can give you a box and you can take it home in the car with you when you go.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna run it by her and stuff.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, man.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, how much of that could you guys hear? Could you hear my whole thing? Could you hear my whole spiel to the customer? I appreciate you guys. Okay, let's get the last little touch of our brown over here. Remember, if you want to grab this painting, you know where to go to get it. And it can be yours. Ooh, just such a light little touch of Ruski. Little touch. Ooh, barely, right? Remember, we don't have to go all the way to the top, especially on your small branches. You don't need it. Now you can if you want, and if you can. Grab a little touch of that brown on top of some of those darker branches in your bigger areas anyway. The bigger guys that can hold that brown, you just give them a little tap and move on. Remember, it's not gonna grab in every place. It's not gonna look the same on every branch, and that's okay. It's okay, right? Very cool. Very neat, you guys. Bang, boom. There we go, over here. And one more little touch. So you guys got to start coming up with a name for this painting. All right, tell me what you think it should be called, what we should title it, because whether or not it finds a new home or not, we got to come up with a title for it. So you guys tell me, what should we name it? And then if someone does get it, then they get to pick the title. Right? But you could sway them with your answer about what they might want to call their painting. If nobody gets it during the live show, then that's okay too. I get to decide what we're gonna do. Very cool, guys. That's neat. I don't know, something very nice about that one. Just something nice out there in the day. Let's take this guy and make his shadowy area just a little softer in the back. Right, making more of a mysterious thing happening back here. Very cool. Very cool. All right, what do you guys think? How about we come up with a title? Looking pretty rad. We got a lot of foreground down here on our right side. Pushing everything else into the distance. Looking really, really, really cool. If you could only use one Bob Ross product for the rest of your life, what would that one Bob Ross product be? Well, that's a good question, actually. I know that Grumbacher's makes a liquid white and a liquid clear, so you don't need that. We've got Paint with Josh brushes, although the Bob Ross 2-inch brush is literally made for these paints, this thing. So maybe from the, it would have to be the 2-inch brush, literally. We can get away with everything else. And even my Paint with Josh 2-inch brush, it's a little bit more thin, not as heavy duty, you know what I mean? So yeah, if any one thing that I would use forever, it would probably be the 2-inch brush. Just because I love it so much. You can do so many things with it. You can make trees with it, you can paint your sky with it, you do all these sorts of things with it. Very cool, guys. I like it. I like it, guys. Can we get one more little piece of brown on this guy right here? Will it even take? It's like the painting's like, stop touching me right now. Okay, you guys come up with a title. The ambulance going by, and so come up with a title, and then the best title is gonna win, man. You'll be chosen to title this painting, which is a giant honor, I just hear. So what kind of titles have we got so far, you guys? Remember, if you grab this one, you get to pick the title forever, and you get to choose it and name it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Winter's Bliss in the Valley of Josh. Fresh of breath. That's funny. What's my favorite Bob Ross painting? So, I mean, there's not a lot that I remember because I only watched him for a couple months I did maybe like 4 or 5 of his scenes. I know there's one called like Pastel Sunrise or Pastel Sunset or something. Gray Mountain is one of everyone's favorites. I like the very soft one where there's like 3, 4 trees in the back right here, and then he does like a weird one of these guys with some stuff, and this is over here. I can't remember what that one's called either, but there's a couple. There's a couple that I love. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel of just Bob Ross scenes that I've done. So like 99% of the stuff that I have is my own. We come up with it right here in front of everybody, and sure, it may look similar to his scenes or one of my other scenes or whatever, but we're coming up with it off the top of our head. There are other videos from when I was younger in my painting journey of literal Bob Ross scenes. A couple of them I'm literally painting along with, like I have my iPad off the side of the screen. I'm trying to keep up with Bob. And it's kind of fun. But I do have a whole playlist of those. If you want to see me paint a Bob Ross scene, quote unquote, I have a playlist of those, about 7 or 8 videos. I really like how this one came out, you guys. We didn't do the big giant, foreground evergreen. We didn't need to, you know what I mean? And I always Bob used to try to fill them all up with all these trees. I like being able to go around it, like that idea of being able to walk around the tree, you know what I mean? It's always something I thought was cool when I did them. So that's another difference between me and Bobby, I guess. So remember, come up with a title. I gotta wash off a couple more brushes. And then we're gonna have a good time. Remember, we've got the light party fixed. So if this one does find a new home, we'll get to see it in the light party. We've got the lights like directly behind the camera. So close. Yeah, that's very cool. This almost looks like it was done on a black canvas. Got all those deep, dark hues in there, but it wasn't. It was done on a white canvas. You saw me do it right here in front of your very eyeballs. And we had a good time while we were doing it. That's the most important thing. Everybody over on YouTube, how's my audio been today? Is the audio clear? Can you hear me, man? I've been trying not to speak when I look away and to go to my... It's only ever when I go over here. You can't hear me because I'm farther away from the camera and I'm cleaning the brush in the odorless mineral spirits. So what I've been doing is trying not to speak when I go over there and trying only to speak when I'm standing here. So has the audio been better today? Answer me, even if you're not watching the live show, please. Answer me, answer me, answer me. A glimpse of dawn. I like that. I like it, guys. I got 1 or 2 more brushes to clean, then we're all set. I liked a glimpse of dawn. Who said that? That's gonna, if no one else gets, that's gonna be my choice. Who said that? I just saw it. Right there. Ooh, let's see. Pin. A glimpse of dawn. I don't know, for whatever reason, I like it. I like it. So, if you want to grab this painting, go to paintjosh.com. It's not on the homepage. Are you kidding me, Josh? Josh! I'll make it easier for you guys. Oh, I told myself to do this prior to starting up the show. Oh, you silly boy. It's okay. Okay, guys. Kidding me right now, man. There we go. Okay, let's do this. What is this number anyway? 1790? Perfect. Right there. Can't believe it took me a whole hour to figure out that it wasn't on the homepage. But you could have found it either which way if you liked it. If so, it is on the homepage now. You can go check it out. And Spring Frost Lake. That's cool. That's cool. Oh, holistic wellness. Maybe. Breath upon the pine. I like that, guys. You guys always come up with the best titles, literally. Tomorrow's sunrise. Don't you worry, gotta put the birds in there. Don't worry about the birds. The birds gotta go in. Every painting. Here we go. Over here, let's pop these guys in like this. Caw-caw! Just little guys. Bink! Flying through the night. Okay. Now, should be much easier to find over there on paintwithjosh.com, but let's pick a title. What was that thing? A Glimpse of Dawn? Was that the title that I liked? That was a cool title. A Glimpse of Dawn. Like the soap. It's when you look at the soap before you wash your hands. It's a glimpse of dawn. Let's put it over here. Let's pop it in there. Was that funny? No? Nobody laughed at that. You know, Dawn soap. I mean, it's not funny if I have to explain it to you guys. You know the soap that you do dishes with? It's called Dawn. It's when you're like looking and washing. No? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, you guys, as always, are awesome. I can't wait to see your versions of this painting, everybody over there on YouTube. So, until I see you guys again next time, take care. Send it into facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh, right? Send it into my Facebook page or my Instagram. You guys know how to find it. Until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day, and blah, blah. Boom! Goodness. That one came out really, really, really good.